Where should I start? Hi, my name is Sasha. I originally grew up in Panama.
Okay.
My childhood was a great one. I think it was great. I definitely loved it. My mom, from my very beginning of my childhood, was a single parent. She raised 3 daughters, which I am so thankful for. And later on, she found my father, my dad, my stepdad, but he raised me, so I have always called him my dad.
Yeah.
Um, because of their marriage, and we moved here to the States because he was military, and I grew up in Killeen, and it's not far from here, maybe an hour away.
Hmm.
Um, and I had a great childhood. I loved it, loved everything about it, but because there were so many changes in my life, moving from one country, new culture, new language, everything was new. I felt a sense of belonging, but not belonging, finding here, but not being there.
Hmm.
It was always a culture differences by many, many terms. Not only being Hispanic, but also learning to be American and learning to be Afro Latina involved with it too. It was definitely for me very difficult. And because it was difficult, I felt constantly sad and depressed. So although I was very bubbly and very kind and sweet, or I think I was. Um, I also felt that throughout my childhood, even to my teenage years, and even to adulthood, I suffered a lot with depression and anxiety, and to the point that it became even attacks. And it was difficult for me to do tasks or even finishing schoolwork or doing things at school. I moved here to Austin in 2010, but it was with my first marriage. And my first husband wasn't Christian. And because he wasn't Christian, I, as being new to Austin, being in a new area, I felt that I wanted to seek out um, other religions besides the one that I grew up in, which I was born and raised Seventh-day Adventist. So I always knew being a Seventh-day Adventist was something that was a very strong foundation for me. But because I questioned being a Seventh-day Adventist, I looked at different religions. My first husband was, like I said, not Christian, but he was also open to from open for me to seek other cultures, religions, etc. So I did. And being a bubbly personality that I am, I tend to get a lot of friends from different ethnicities, different cultures, different backgrounds altogether. And I think that has to also do with me growing up in Killeen, having a lot of military families coming in and out from different places.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always something that I liked being around with. And I think later on that does conclude why I'm here at this church. It's very multicultural. I like how everybody is just so friendly and we're able to be different religions and I'm sorry, came out from different religions, came as Seventh-day Adventists, but we come from different countries. And I love that about our church.
Yes.
With that, I started seeking a lot of things that were new age, and you name it, I probably did it. Um, Meditation, yoga, etc. And I think I even went beyond that at some point. And even though for my husband that was normal since he grew up in India, so he's so used to so many deities and so many things.
Mm.
Um, I noticed that my depression and anxiety was just getting worse. I wasn't very happy in the relationship that I was in. Maybe it was how I was looking in perspective in life, but whatever it was, I was just not feeling that it was a place that I needed to be in. So I decided to ask for a divorce, and sadly, he agreed because he wasn't wanting to. We weren't willing to work on our marriage. So with my divorce happening, I felt free. I moved with my sister and we started coming here when the church was back in 183. Later on, you guys sold it to a little Korean church, but I started going to Stonehill before it was Stonehill. I started going in and out of Stonehill. Once in a while, I would go here and there, and sometimes I would come right after I had done a party or two the day before. But I still, for some reason, would still wake up at 8 a.m. and be at church at 9 a.m. With my sister. And slowly and gradually, I was still in the church, but not in faith. I wasn't giving God anything or acting of anything. I was just showing up and thinking that was enough. That was going to be what sustained my Christianity. And slowly and gradually, my sister was getting closer in faith. She was finding a relationship that she wanted it to be a strong foundation with. And she later on found her husband and moved from Austin to Dallas, meaning that I was going to be in this city by myself. No support, no family support. And if it was, it wasn't that far from it. But I wanted to stay in Austin because I really wanted to put down some roots. And I started doing that. I started being a single person without having any parents or a spouse, no children. And I felt free to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I stepped out of the church for a little bit. I went into very deep meditations at points, and throughout all of that, I still felt empty. My depression was just getting worse. I've had suicidal thoughts, but at this point, it's probably getting worse, and to the point that I don't even know what I'm doing. What is my purpose? I don't see a purpose. I am going at different places and trying to find it, relationship after relationship. And throughout of that, I'm thankful that I found my second husband. Great companion, love him still. Even though we're not together, I still have love for him. And I'm grateful for the time that he has given me. And I'm able to say that with love and care now because I found faith in that and I found Christ with it. However, at that time, it came to a shock to me when he asked for a divorce after just 2 years of marriage because I thought everything was going great. And I don't know what made him want to decide to do that, but I really do think that God does things with reason and with purpose and with a plan. Because even after that, I learned so much of why it was done and how it was done. But at that moment, it shattered me. Like I felt like a failure. I felt abandoned. I was alone. I felt that I wasn't worthy. And it didn't help that I was depressed, alone. No, not that my family wasn't far, but I felt that that my world was just breaking. So um, I'm thankful that I have a mother that prays for me and prays for me on the daily and has set a really strong foundation for me. And because of her, I slowly and gradually felt that I could do things little by little. And one of the things that I carry even to this day is just, um, I think biblically it says something about a mustard seed. As long as you have a faith of a mustard seed, that it could move mountains, that it can make big things happen. So I kept
Amen.
thinking, as long as I have a mustard seed of faith, God will do so much for me. And so I kept that with me. I put that in my work. I put that in my car. I put that at home. And anywhere I was, it was just going to be a mustard seed that later on we're going to set some roots. And those roots were going to be strong foundations. And it was going to be my cornerstone. And this is something that it was just constantly in my mind. And my mom just kept praying for me. And at that moment, I really didn't feel like I was doing anything. I felt like I was taking little baby steps, and I felt like I was in a train in a tunnel, and all I could see was just like a little mustard seed in the light at the end of the tunnel, and that I could get out of it, but I just didn't know how, and I didn't know how to get to that light. But I knew there was a light. I just didn't know what was after that. So with time and with patience and with a really strong family that prays for me and was asking me how I was doing, and my friends that were just like, don't stay at home, come out with us, just hang out with us. We're having a game night, things like that. They didn't isolate me. They even took me on trips that I was always the third wheel, but I was happy to go with them. And one year in 2023, my friend invited me to go to Hawaii. She was there to scatter the ashes of her father, which was my pastor at the time. And I was happy to go to um, have just a last moment there with her and to be with her. But in that moment, I found myself. And it was a little conversations. Now, God had talked to me in conversations through the word. It was always like I would talk to him, and for some reason, he would give me a story or a word or a verse that really stuck with me. But this time in Hawaii, it was like actually having a conversation. And it's now me answering them. It's God or something higher power answering them for me. And in one of those conversations, it said, if you give me a year of sobriety, if you would just stop doing what you're doing, I can make you so great. And I'm like, am I hearing this right? But then I thought, maybe 9 months, maybe 9 months. And I started bargaining with Jesus. And it was just more like, no, I mean, I could do like 1 month. And then it was like, give me 1 year, give me 1 year, and then you'll do it. You'll be able to do it. You'll see how much I can do for you.
Amen.
So I started telling my friends just to get them ready and basically get me ready too, for me not to fall into any temptations. So I told my friends that 2024, I'm sober. Don't invite me to any parties. Don't take me out anywhere. I am sober. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, sure. But I mean, don't doubt yourself. If you do fall, it's okay. And I was like, I'm not going to fall. I'm not. My challenge is accepted and I will take it on. So on January of 2024, I started my sobriety, and it was one event after another event that people will be there and I will say no. And people will ask me what I wanted. And I was like, I'm good with just water. And it was another event. January became February. And then later on, my birthdays have always been one of those events that is a big party. People knew me as a gatherer, people that people could come and gather and have fun together. And I took that day as a day of me walking with Christ. And I did a sobriety kind of thing. I went on a hike with God. I went out to eat with God. I did things with Jesus. I took my Bible with me. And slowly and gradually that day, it was a day that I was always going to carry my Bible. If the purse didn't fit the Bible, then the purse was not going to be with me. It was going to be a bigger purse.
Amen.
So I started doing my sobriety, and slowly and gradually I started seeing things change. And at that time, I was coming to church frequently, but I was also not fully in church. I was working on Sabbath because at that I'm no longer have that second income, so I have to try to make an income for myself. And in one of those Saturdays when I was driving at 6 o'clock in the morning to go teach class, I I I started praising and worship on my way to work. And once again, I heard the Lord speak to me and says, "You know, you should be praising and worshiping at church, right?"
Hmm.
And I go, "Lord, I will praise and worship you anywhere, any day, but I can't do it. I can't do without this income." And he goes, "Do you not have a faith in me?"
Hmm.
And he's like, "I thought that you wanted that mustard seed of faith to grow some roots." And I'm in shock driving and I'm crying. I'm bawling. I'm bawling going down 79, trying to hit I-35. And I said, "Fine. If you, I know I have faith in you that you will be able to take care of me financially. You say that you're my husband. I have faith in you that as a husband, you will take care of me financially." So that day I drove, I parked, I said a little prayer, and I went to my boss and I said, "Today's my last day." And she was in shock. She asked me questions. Was it us? Was it the program? What was going on? Was it the girls? And I said, "Everything's great. I just want to let you know, as a 7-day Adventist, it has been hurting me to come to work every day, because I should be at church worshiping and I should be in church praising instead of me feeling that I need to take care of my needs."
Mhm.
So today's my last day. And she's like, "Okay, I completely understand." And the next Sabbath after that, I have been in every Sabbath here. And I'm very thankful that my class knows me, the people that greet me at the door know me, the pastor knows me. And I've been faithful in coming into church. So 2024 was just one of those things that slowly and gradually I saw how God makes those mountains come, how he gets everything taken care of. And I
Mhm.
no longer, even to this day, have to worry about anything financially. I, as long as I myself feel that I'm giving back in my tidings, I have seen it become an abundance that I'm happy to donate, something that I would have never thought, that I'm happy to give my time to. And everything that I do now is just with it. So slowly and gradually, that little light at the end of the tunnel of this long train, it just became getting brighter and bigger. And eventually I did get out of that tunnel. I did. Like, I definitely saw the sky be really bright, the sun shining, the lakes with it, and all the beauty involved in it. And I'm seeing that even now, the how God literally speaks to me with a lot of the things that I'm going through. I'm still going through a lot of things. And I think that later on, that will be something additional to my testimony. But
Mhm.
right now, I just think that God has done so much for me that I'm so grateful. And I'm just can't stop speaking about him. Like, I bring my Bible everywhere. And I think I try to do the whole let's get together. But now I think my friends are starting to realize that, so she's gonna bring her Bible and she's gonna pull it out. She's going to say a verse here and there that's going to get stuck with you, and then you're going to ask questions. So things have become not a gathering, but more of like a Bible study. and
Praise
I
the
am,
Lord.
and I'm happy with that. Um, but I just can't help but to just share the word and share the gospel and just tell people how much Jesus has changed me, because I know that in this congregation, he has changed so many. And I can't wait
Yes.
for them to share their testimony and for me to hear it too.
Amen. Amen.